So Star Wars Unlimited looks like it's about to get a big shakeup before regional and sector qualifier season begins for Legends of the Force. A snap video and stream has been announced regarding meta updates, and we are going to watch along and react to it live to see what exactly that Fantasy Flight Games are planning for Star Wars Unlimited in the next month or so. My name's Ben Fitzpatrick. I'm a TCG caster. That means I just love talking about him. So let's do that right now. But before we go ahead and get into today's video, if you do enjoy it, please do feel free to drop a like rating on it. Subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already, like I know nearly 80% of you that watch my videos have not done. If you're coming back on the regular and you enjoy my content, you might as well subscribe. It's completely free to do so, and it helps me out a ton with the support. At the time of recording this video, we are just 15 subscribers away from that 200 goal to the end of September. So subscribe if you haven't already. Get us closer to that goal and the goal of 500 at least by the end of 2025. While you're down there as well, drop a comment down below with your reactions to whatever it is that's getting announced right now. And while you're there, check out my link tree as well that's in the description, where you can find me on other social platforms. That's right, we've got this random meta update stream that has been announced and appeared earlier today, this morning, from what I've been informed about it as well. It looks like Thork has made a video on it as well yesterday. But I only found out about this morning while I was at Durham Cricket, working with them on the county championship game, which unfortunately didn't go underway on day one today, as the time of recording and this goes live. It was rained out, but there will be more days of that, so looking forward to that at the very least. And for any sports fans, I'll leave the link to the Durham Cricket YouTube channel in the description as well, where you'll be able to find me. It looks like we are 1 minute and 30 seconds away from these meta updates, and I've realized I've not even got my headphones on for this, so I'm not even going to be able to hear or listen to whatever is getting announced. Let me correct that very, very quickly. But yeah, I don't know what this could be. There's potentially the opportunity. I know a lot of people want Force Throw gone. There's also the main potential for Data Vault to see getting hit as well. There we go. I can now hear it. So the candidates for potentially cards being suspended are Force Throw, Data Vault, maybe Han Solo worth the risk. The Aggression Heroism leader could maybe see a suspension with it getting a lot of play and going into the Legends of the Force sector and regional qualifiers. They might be wanting to really spruce up the meta quite considerably, like they did in the wake of the Jango Fett leader ban with Triple Dark Raid and DJ. That made the regional qualifier in Season 0 for Jump to Lightspeed really, really interesting and quite unpredictable. So we're about to find out whatever this is. I'm really, really interested and excited for what this could potentially mean. There could also be opportunity for things to come off the suspension list as well. Maybe Boba Fett is going to see his way back into Premiere. The timer is up, though. We're live now.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars Unlimited live streams. This is not our typical Wednesday one. We have this unscheduled, but prompted by things. It's not totally unprompted. But
yeah, this is certainly unscheduled.
And Ryan, how are you two today?
Doing good today, Jeff.
And we've got actual game developers here as well. So
we wanted
this is suspension.
to take this time on our untypical day to say that everything is fine. We don't have to worry about anything, right?
Really happy with how the meta's going. Yeah.
Very excited. So we did an unscheduled stream to say nothing. I'm just kidding. Please keep watching. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to dive in.
I was about to say, there's no way.
Especially with sectors and regionals coming up, we had some adjustments that we wanted to make and talk about, and so we're really going to dive into this. But we did want to stress that this wasn't originally planned to have this. This was something that came about as we started to see more results, and we wanted to give the chance to the meta and to players to have it be flexible, to evolve, to see how things go from that. And I do want to note that we still are going to have our usual meta updates stream just before Secrets of Power releases, and that'll give us a chance to decompress after sectors, after regionals, and kind of use that data.
Okay, so we'll be watching out for that and any potential unsuspensions on the back of that as well, or further suspensions.
So, yeah, I mean, we're going to jump into it a little bit. I'm going to have Aaron talk about it, as he's our numbers person for this. But, what are some of the top decks? What are we seeing, especially with, sectors and regionals on the horizon? What are we looking at with all these planetary qualifier results?
So for the most part, we're seeing the same top 5 decks week in and week out. We're seeing the Quinlan Voss Tarkintown deck from Twilight of the Republic. We are seeing the Boba Fett from Jump to Lightspeed with Data Vault. We're seeing Sabine Wren with usually Energy Conversion Lab base. And then from there, we're also seeing, of course, Han Solo from Shadows of the Galaxy, very popular leader with the Force bases. And finally, I think the 5th deck is actually a tie between the Twilight of the Republic Anakin Skywalker leader with Force bases, as well as Emperor Palpatine from Shadows of the Galaxy.
Really?
Usually going with a Cunning base for that one.
That surprises me. I'm surprised about the Tolzins not on that
the last
list.
couple of weeks.
Spark Rebellion for Palpatine.
She literally won the Galactic Championships. It was still a pretty potent leader in combination with the Aggression Force base.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we've been seeing it. I personally have played a lot of Quinlan Voss leader, and excited to see them doing well. And there's been some rogue decks or different decks that have been popping up a little bit that have been fun to see doing well.
Flip Palp.
A lot of similar play patterns, which is what we're going to get into of why this is here. But, we did see Vader from Jump to Lightspeed with Cunning, as he has been played
Vader.
with. A lot of pilots, a lot of small spaceships.
Such a fun deck.
We've had Yoda from Twilight with the Aggression Force base kind of popping up and things like that. But is there anything other than those that have surprised you that maybe aren't making it into the percentages of a deck or a leader that has done well?
So it's because generally when I'm doing these breakdowns, I'm pairing leaders and bases, not just looking at leaders. Like Kylo Ren from Legends of the Force is kind of spread out across a couple of different areas. Tarkintown, Energy Conversion Lab, Data Vault bases, all getting played with that leader. So he's not really taking up as big of a meta share as we would kind of want that leader to, just in terms of when we're looking at leader-based pairing combinations. And it's just important to focus sometimes on the leader, make sure what their player
I wonder if Data Vault's going
then
with that.
But the decks do look very different.
With that in mind.
Yeah, and one of the big things that we have seen so far is aggression is everywhere. That's been a lot of the top decks. However they are playing it, there's a lot of good tools that we're seeing them combine to create
Force throw is one of the Force ways going.
Top cut rate and finalist and winning rates that we're a little bit not as comfortable with going forward, but you have some of those as well.
Yeah, so when we're looking at an aspect breakdown of what we're seeing out of the planetary qualifiers, aggression is usually taking up 70 to 75% of our top 8 meta share, which is just a lot. And this is usually coming out of Cunning's meta share, which is down to about 30%. A lot of that is actually just picked up by Quinlan Voss and Cad Bane leaders being so prominent within the meta. But once we get outside of Quinlan and Cad Bane, and maybe there's an Emperor Palpatine 30 HP base with Cunning. It's really just those 3 Cunning decks. We're not seeing a lot of variation within that aspect combination, and it is a very low meta share for kind of what we want out of it. We understand that a lot of the suspensions, all of the suspensions have been Cunning cards so far, so this isn't completely unexpected, but we would like to fix it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and aggression, like you said, was about 85% of.
Okay, we're gonna go no face cam. Hang on a second. You're not gonna miss out on anything. It's gonna be a smooth cut. We're gonna quickly. There we go. We're back. That was nice and easy.
The trends have changed since those. So if you include them, your numbers might be different from what Aaron's talking about. But the last, I would say, 3 weeks, especially this last weekend, because once this was scheduled on Friday, people had a lot of guesses as to what was going on. But we'll go ahead and even say that the announcement for today is that we will be adding Force Throw to the suspension list. This will go into effect on September 22nd. So
Makes sense.
Still have a week to play with this. This weekend's planetary qualifiers, you will have that chance. But you also have about 2.5 weeks to order some new cards, practice new decks, especially for the Portland sector, which tickets are still available.
Yeah.
The sector qualifier to go
I think
ahead
a
and
lot
purchase
of
those,
people
join that.
were
So we are
expecting this to
adding
go
our first non-cunning
at
suspension list. It has happened.
End of the Galactics,
but again,
I think,
this
in all
is
honesty.
only for Premier play, both casual and competitive for Premier. But Draft, Sealed, Twin Suns, and Trilogy will remain unchanged. But Trilogy, there'll be an update on the 24th. We'll be talking about that further, not this Wednesday, but the following as well. So the 24th,
okay, so Trilogy suspension list being announced on the 24th of September.
Now, why not earlier? Why not?
So we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that one. Stay subscribed to keep an eye on the news for that when it drops.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if we look at the meta as a whole, we're not getting sort of looking at the last 3 to 4 weeks of a meta is a little bit more important to me specifically than looking at the entire meta. You know, Galactics happened, people got to see the top 64, that was really cool. We come out of the gate, Force Throw's actually not doing as well as we thought it was, and we're like, okay, yeah, maybe we don't have a problem here. Maybe Force Throw's numbers are going to be fine, and then it went up the next week, and we're like, okay, what about next week? It goes down again. Okay, great. Maybe Force Throw doesn't have to have any action. And then from there, it just kind of consistently kept creeping up to a point where the numbers, which aren't everything, did start to get a little problematic. And when we're looking at, say,
and the other issue that you've got as well is with
we're seeing 50 to
some of the cards that potentially could be revealed and are being revealed for Secrets of Power as well. There's one that we'll be talking about, a leader we'll be talking about in a video in the next couple of days or so. About why like Force Throw in that deck
even the Twilight Republic meta,
would have been
punning was
just
a very strong
unreal
aspect in the game. Surprise Strike was hitting pretty close to these numbers. You know, you were seeing it in the Quinlan Boss Leader decks, you were seeing it in the Han Solo decks, you were seeing it in Cad Bane as well. And it's like that was hitting a point where those numbers were getting a little bit comparable to what Force Throw was looking like now, but the play pattern of Surprise Strike wasn't nearly as problematic as what we're seeing with Force Throw. It's just been a pain point for players. They don't have a lot of fun playing against it, and it can kind of just end games really early on. It's forcing control decks out of the meta in a way we're not really happy with because it's able to just rip their hand apart at a very quick pace. So when you look at the numbers by themselves, that starts getting us into the judgment call territory, but when you look at the play pattern on top of it, that's where
because as well, like, it's such a cheap card resource-wise as it is already. Like, it's just one resource. So even if you're playing it out of aspect in, say, like, Vigilance Command,
and I do want to reiterate that this will
you're
go into
paying
effect in
3
from
for
today
it,
on the
and
22nd,
3
so
to
you
rip
still
a
have
card
time
from
this week to
hand
play,
still isn't
anything after
bad.
The 22nd, you will not be able to play the
And
Force
as
Throw
well,
event,
if you've got the
at
Force
this.
unit
And,
to deal the
I
damage,
want to talk a little bit
like,
too. So, I mean,
3 for it's still totally fine.
Large of a pool aggression had in winning and top 8s. What made us hone in on just the Force Throw event and not things like Tarkin Town, not things like Kiadi-Mundi unit?
Part of it is a little bit of the overlap of Tarkin Town. We have a couple of Force Throw Tarkin Town decks that are running around, mostly going to be the Kylo Ren leader from Legends of the Force, as well as Quinlan Voss from Twilight of the Republic. So we also know that Tarkin Town is coming out as a combatant to Han Solo from Shadows of the Galaxy. So we're like, okay, how much of this Tarkin Town meta share starts to go down if we take away some of the Force Throw decks that are, Han Solo being one of the more prominent ones. If we just move the needle on Han Solo a little bit, does Tarkin Town start to come down a little bit? And over the last couple of weeks, Force bases have actually just started to overtake the rare bases in terms of meta share within the top 8.
Because the Force package is just so good.
Are nowhere near Force Throw's numbers.
It's just such a good package. And when you had the most recent expansion that has engineered itself around this mechanic.
And concerns about some of the other red cards, but I agree. It was a combination of those.
You're going to see so many more of these players going like, oh, okay, these are the new shiny things.
Forward,
and they're also good.
Anything that maybe we are worried of? I remember in previous suspensions, especially when 3 were suspended at a time, one of the things that many were worried about were a specific leader rising up and to dominate the meta, and just kind of how are we feeling going forward with this suspension?
So when we did the last round of suspension, Sabine Wren from Shadows of the Galaxy?
Spark Rebellion.
Spark Rebellion. They both start with S. Sabine Wren from Spark of the Rebellion shot up to the top of the meta, and we don't want to repeat that when we suspend a card. So what we did is we went back, we looked at the Jump to Lightspeed meta, and we said, okay, Sabine wasn't dominating the Jump to Lightspeed meta, really only got Yoda's lightsaber as a playable card out of Legends of the Force, and so we don't think that is enough to push Sabine to a point where they are going to become the #1 leader in the meta, just based off of the fact that so many other decks got new cards from Legends of the Force. Sabine got very little, so I don't see why she would suddenly jump to the top of the meta when she didn't do that in Jump to Lightspeed.
Yeah, and I do want to iterate that we are introducing some new variations to the metagame, which kind of creates an entirely new meta in and of itself. And the more proactive decks tend to succeed in those type of environments, so it wouldn't be surprising if Sabine did perform incredibly well at the planetary qualifiers, at the sector qualifiers, immediately following the suspension when it goes live next Monday.
Yeah,
but
I'm definitely expecting it to do pretty well, to do pretty good.
Comes out, I think it'll even out a little bit more. It doesn't seem like Sabine is going to be the end-all be-all, but for the first couple weeks, you might see a pretty big spike there.
Yeah, because she's just historically a safe deck as well.
So
it's
going
just
forward,
good old-fashioned
aggro
to
consider, and so you as players, as an audience, know as well. And we mentioned this a little bit. Some of the weight that we give to things when making these decisions are about tournament data, are about community feedback, are about play patterns, and are about longevity. And so this kind of was, a a little bit of all of those areas, we had some merit to suspend force throw with this. And so we're going to keep watching these things as we go. And as I mentioned, especially with the meta update coming in later October before Secrets of Power, we'll have the chance to revisit all of these things for that. And I did want to quickly mention unsuspensions, bringing a card back to that. It kind of falls into that category of what I'm talking about a little bit, right? We don't want to shake up the meta too much in the midst of a season. But is there anything that you two wanted to comment in that regard?
Yeah, I think one of the goals with the suspension is to bring aggression's meta share in line. And when you look at the unsuspension candidates that we have available, Boba, we have said Boba Leader is a little bit of a design mistake. You know, the numbers on that card are just a little bit too big, and it's not a super viable unsuspension
Boba's
candidate,
totally
even though we are testing it
fine.
pretty frequently.
Bring
And because
Boba
this was
back.
a limited suspension, it wasn't something we delved into too heavily. But you know, you look at Triple Dark Raid event as an option, and then that's just generally the best vehicles that you can pull off of a Triple Dark Raid are generally the aggression vehicles.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really help with
Or
the aggression
Juggernaut,
meta
Ruthless
share.
Raider.
You know, Django Fett usually wants to play Tarkentown as the base with that leader, and that really doesn't help the aggression meta share. So while we are just like doing this as an emergency mid-set kind of pivot, we don't, because the goal is to reduce the aggression meta share, we didn't really see any of those as viable options.
Yeah, and then even, in the same vein with the DJ unit
Yes.
from Shadows, it was a similar thing where that would probably only bring back one deck, Han Solo from Spark.
I would imagine.
Of just Cunning, really.
And also Force Throw being removed from the meta, we do think that Han Solo, being one of those leaders that gets to play with pretty low number of cards in hand, was very kept down by Force Throw being in the meta. So we do expect Han Solo to come back in some, or the Han Solo from Spark of Rebellion specifically, to come back in some capacity.
Because there's 3 Han Solo leaders.
Yes, and this upcoming Wednesday, we're doing Premier Games. And I believe that might just be the deck
Might be.
that I build with Command to mess around with that. So there is talk, but again, it's something that we don't want to go crazy in the midst of a season, but we'll be revisiting that in just about a month and a half, month and a week or so.
That makes sense.
But it is excitement. I think it's always awesome to then go into these and to see the creativity. I mean, at Galactics, we had the Kylo Ren from Legends of the Force paired with Tarkentown, and that was not a deck that was talked about a lot in the build-up to that event, and so we got to see that surprise of a team creating that and bringing that to 2 of the top 4 and then 1 of the finals as well. And so we just are really excited to see the creativity and any of those new leaders and decks popping up going forward in sectors and regionals. And as I mentioned, this Wednesday is going to be our premiere stream. We'll be playing games with that. And I do want to shout out that the sector qualifiers in America, both Portland and Philly, do still both have tickets available. So if you're interested in attending both of them,
but Europe
please,
is all sold out, I
our
believe.
socials, those links are posted
Europe
on there.
sector is sold out, and the
send you to those sites as well.
Europe
Same thing for the
regional, I believe,
championship,
sold out as
in
well,
that regard.
which is
And,
crazy.
there's no updates on Munich at this time. I know there are some questions about that, but we have nothing for that. But that is kind of all we have.
But
in
the
regards
question
to the
if
suspension for
Munich
today with the
specifically is
Force
about
Throw event.
if the
Is
cap
there any
can
other
be
comments? Anything that you're excited
unveiled.
about in the coming
Because
weeks?
a
as we
lot of
finish
people
out,
want the
our
cap
first
extended
set
on Munich.
in season 1.
Not too much. I'm really just excited to see kind of how the metagame evolves. It's just one of the more interesting things with, you have this kind of plan of like what could happen when metas get shaken up or when new sets come out even, and just like seeing how the community reacts and is able to innovate with these new kind of changes is just something I'm really excited to see for the sectors and the regionals.
I'm also excited to see how Force decks continue to
Absolutely.
evolve now that there's a lot less of a reason to go aggression in your Force deck. We've already seen a couple.
I mean, the thing is,
pop
you've still
up
got so many
somewhere
of
in top
the
8,
Force
that are
heroism
non-aggression
decks
Force
that
decks, and
are
I'm very excited
still
to see how those decks
doing
continue
quite
to
well.
evolve
Like
and
Han
hopefully
Solo,
take
this
up a
like
larger
doesn't
meta share.
really
Yeah, I do think that is one
touch
of
Han
my most
Solo
exciting parts is to
massively.
see how these Force
The
decks
deck was
evolve a
running
little
it
bit,
maybe
being given that
out of
chance to
aspect.
spread beyond aggression.
I think Obi-Wan leader from set 5 has not been doing very well in the planetary qualifiers.
it's
and
still gonna
I'm
be
still
pretty
really
decent.
high on him. I think that the Obi-Wan leader is like
Same with
genuinely
Yoda as
very
well.
strong card and just was not really able to
Anakin
play
was
Force
mentioned
Throw like
earlier.
Force decks, so I think that's something that I'm excited to see for the sectors.
Yes, that Obi-Wan leader with Cunning has been a blast.
Yes,
I've really
absolutely.
enjoyed playing that leader and base pairing. But that is all we have for you today. The article is going live at 1:30 Central, which is about 13 or so minutes. And so if you're looking for something written that you
That's basically it. Force Throw is officially suspended from Star Wars Unlimited. And I think for a lot of people, this will be a case of it was a long time coming. I mentioned it during the stream and during the live reaction that I think a lot of people were expecting it to go right at the end of the Galactics for them to announce, okay, there's one more thing before we go. Force Throw is suspended. Bye, everybody, off your pop. But they kept it in the format, wanted to see how it did in the planetaries and as Legends of the Force grew a little bit older, are now realizing that, yeah, this card is a problem. Even if it's just one resource, rip a card from hand, it is a problem, and even more so with the Force Matters stuff that is running around pretty much everywhere in the meta at the moment. Not only ripping a card from hand, but potentially dealing that damage if you're combining it with stuff like Pillage as well to whittle your opponent down until they only have like something of high resource value in hand, and then you force throw them and immediately just pop something and essentially get a 2-for-1, right? You're ripping a card out of your opponent's hand and then you're popping a unit. It's just probably a little too much here. So we are going to have a Force Throwless sector and regional qualifier window, which for me, I mean, as someone who has background and experience in casting Star Wars Unlimited, is definitely something very, very exciting. But now it's over to you guys. Let me know down in the comments section below what you think of the Force Throw suspension. Are you for it? Are you against it? Give me the reasons for your thinking as well. While you're down there, if you did enjoy this video, please do feel to drop a like rating on it. Subscribe to the channel as well for more Star Wars Unlimited and other TCG-related content. Like I said earlier in the video as well, we'll have a video going up this week at some time talking about some of the early reveals that have been coming for Secrets of Power. Because yes, believe it or not, reveal season is officially underway, and we have some really cool new cards that we need to shed some light on and talk about. So stay tuned in your sub boxes for that. But until then, that's going to do it for this video. Sorry about the lighting issue or the camera issue as well. I hope I'll get that fixed for the next video that you see. But until that point, thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.